What's your credit score? Do you know what it is? Is it 600? Is it 900? Do you have any idea? Do you even care? Well, you should. What's happening, people? My name is Robbie, and today I'm going to tell you why you should care about your credit score and 5 ways that you can improve it today. But before we begin, you know the drill. It's a new month, and last month I realised that the target of 250 subscribers by the end of March was too high. I then changed it to 200 subscribers and still didn't hit it. So the targets for April are slightly more conservative, and the only way that I'm going to achieve them is with your help. So I'd like this channel to be completely transparent, so I'll always have an update of the targets for the month, and if we hit them or if we miss them. As we go forward, I'll also be transparent with my investments in property, how much renovations have cost me, how much money I'm making on a property. So that transparency, we'll start with targets. Target 1 for April. 250 subscribers. Right now we're sitting at 190, so we need 60 new subscribers in April. Surely that is possible. Target 2. 2,000 total views in April. Last month we got 1,462, so I feel quietly confident that we can achieve 2,000 this month. And target 3, get an average of 20 likes per video in April. I know this seems small, but the average likes per video in March was 15.6. That means only roughly 1 in 10 of you are actually liking the video when you watch it. So help a guy out and like the video. Thank you. Right, now all that stuff's out the way, we can crack on with the actual video. What is your credit report? So your credit report is literally a report of all the credit agreements that you have or have had previously. This report includes your current accounts, your credit cards, car payments, mortgages, and any other loans that you take out. The reason that is so important is that if you want to take out any loan, the lender that you go to will look through your credit report with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that their money is safe with you and how reliable you are to pay the money back to them. For example, you find a nice house that you want to buy, you've got the money for the deposit and you need a mortgage of £100,000. You go to the bank, you show them the property, you tell them how much you need, and they'll obtain a copy of your credit report. They'll sift through that, make sure that you're making payments on time, that you can afford the mortgage, and that you haven't missed any other payments on other credit agreements. The better your credit is, the more likely you are to be approved for the loan. And then further on from that, your credit will also determine how good or bad an interest rate you'll get. So if you have a really good credit score, and you've not missed any payments or anything like that, the bank are probably going to offer you a better interest rate because they can see that their money's safer with you and there's less risk. So from this credit report that you get, credit rating agencies like Experian or Equifax will then give you a credit score. That gives you and lenders a good indicator of how your credit report is looking, without having to go through the whole report and look at every individual credit agreement on there. It's also helpful for you to be able to look at your own credit score and see that number going up or going down. If the number's going up, keep doing what you're doing. If the number's going down, start fixing stuff. I know this all sounds a bit boring and dull, particularly if you're a teenager or just a young person who has no interest in buying a house or getting in debt for any reason. But believe me, you want to put in the work now so you don't have to worry about it later. One day you're going to want to buy a house, you're going to want to buy that nice shiny new Mercedes you've been looking at online. Good luck getting the mortgage, good luck getting the nice car with rubbish credit. So before we get into the tips, I'll give you an example of how awful I was with my credit when I was younger. My thought process here is, if I tell you my mistakes, you can avoid them. So in my previous video, I mentioned how when I was 18, I used to borrow money from my mum so I could go out with my friends to the pub, go on nights out, and then I would pay her back at the end of the month when I got paid. I didn't have my together, but this was only the beginning of it. It gets worse. There were a few occasions, I'm not proud to admit it, where I would go to the cash machine and take out cash knowing my gym membership was due to come out, and I would keep that money in my wallet until the weekend, so then I could afford to go out with my friends at the weekend instead of paying my gym membership. Let me reiterate, I did not have my together. I once had a credit card, and I took the credit card out because I'd heard that getting a credit card was good for your credit score. We'll get on to that soon. The credit limit was £250. I had a weekend away booked with my friends. I took the credit card with me. I maxed it out with buying drinks, buying food, buying anything. Then when I got back, forgot about it, didn't bother paying it. One day I started getting letters through the door saying that the debt was going to be passed on to debt collectors if I didn't start making payments, and I completely freaked out. And this was the moment that I decided that I needed to take care of my credit. By this point, it was f***ed. So I started making regular payments to this credit card. It took me a while, but I paid it off and started to see some small improvements in my credit score, which was great. And then the final nail in the coffin came along. I had an iPhone on a contract with Vodafone, like everyone else gets their phone really, and one day I missed a payment on it. I didn't realise I'd missed a payment on it. Because I missed this payment, the direct debits were cancelled. I didn't know this. I thought that the contract had come to its end. I thought it was an 18-month contract and it was a 24-month contract. So there were 6 months where my bill wasn't being paid. And you would think, why didn't Vodafone text you and phone you and let you know that your bill was due and it was overdue and it needed pay? Well, a week after the direct debit was missed, I dropped it down a drain by accident. So there was no contact number for them to get me on. For 6 months, I just plodded along as if everything was fine, went and got a new phone with EE and everything was cool, and then one day the debt collection letter came through the door again, and all the hard work paying off the original credit card was ruined. It was too late to fix, and they put a default on my credit report, which is a big red flag to lenders. As soon as I realised that I owed them money, I got in touch. I cleared the debt to try and minimise the damage. I asked if there was something that we could do about the default. They told me once the default's there, it's there. It won't go anywhere. It will expire in 6 years, but paying it off meant that it would show on the report that I had at least cleared the debt, but the default would ultimately stay there for 6 years. Believe me, you do not want a default on your credit report. I soon found out how detrimental this was when I'd paid off the credit card, I'd saved up some money, and I wanted to buy a flat. I'd saved up almost enough for a 5% deposit, so I was looking to see what my options were. So I was looking to see what mortgage options I had. So I just went to my local high street bank and they basically laughed me out the building. Quite rightly so as well. My credit score was awful and I had a default. On top of that, I also had to submit self-assessments and I'd only submitted one and I needed to submit 2. After another year of saving almost every penny that I earned, I had a 15% deposit, and that's when a few banks started to consider me for a mortgage. Well, everyone else I knew were buying houses with 5% deposits. I had to wait longer. To be honest, it was actually a blessing in disguise because it just meant that I had to put down a bigger deposit on my flat, and I've just recently bought a new house that I'll be moving into at the end of this year, and I just have more equity in my flat just now that I can then use to buy my new house. So as you can probably tell, I've learned my lessons the hard way, so I'm making this video to try and help you avoid making those same mistakes, and hopefully you'll be able to buy a house or get the car you want or whatever you want to take the loan out for responsibly. You'll be able to do it quicker and easier. So how can you start improving your credit score today? This isn't one of the 5 tips, but I would recommend signing up to Experian. The reason I say Experian is because it's what I use. There's other credit rating agencies that probably do just as good a job, but I've got experience with using Experian. You can sign up to it and you can get a 30-day free trial, and if you don't like it or you don't think it's useful enough, you can cancel that within the 30 days and you won't be charged. But it means you can go in, get a copy of your credit report, see what your score is, and that'll give you a better idea of your credit situation anyway. So, tip number 1, check that your details are up to date. Make sure you're signed up to the electoral roll and that's noted on your report and your address is correct. This means that lenders can go on your credit report, they can see your phone bill, your car payment, your gym membership, any of these things all link up to the same address and that everything is in order. This is the quickest and easiest thing you can do to potentially increase your score. So go do it right now. Pause the video, go do it, come back. Done that? Good. Number 2, get a credit card. So I know the previous story makes you think don't touch credit cards, and a lot of people might tell you that getting a credit card is a bad idea and that you should avoid debt at all costs, but ultimately you're building a credit score so you can acquire debt anyway. There's a lot of benefits to credit cards, especially through companies like American Express who offer reward points and reward flights to other countries and various other benefits depending on how much you spend with that card. However, that's not why I'm telling you to get a credit card. The reason I'm telling you to get a credit card is to help you build a credit profile if you don't already have one. Now let me say this before I go any further on the credit card topic. Don't max out your credit card. Don't even consider it. You should aim to utilise around 25% of your credit limit. So if you get a credit card with £200 on it, try and use about £50 of it and pay it straight off immediately. Don't get a credit card to buy things you can't afford. If you can't afford to pay it off immediately, don't buy it. If you don't have the £50 in your current account, don't spend the £50 on your credit card. You're basically just spending money that's in your current account, using your credit card as an intermediary and then paying it straight off. The best example I would use, and I still do this today, is buy fuel with it. Use your credit card to buy petrol every week or every month whenever you fill your car up, and as soon as you get to your next destination, pay it off. Same can be said for train tickets, bus tickets, any regular payment that you would have to make anyway, pay it with your credit card and pay it immediately off. This is 2021. There is no excuse for not paying it off. You could literally pay for your fuel at a petrol station, get back in your car, and then pay off that credit card while you're still in the forecourt. All of the credit card companies, all of the banks, they all have apps. You can do it in 2 minutes. So just pay it off as soon as you're safely able to use your phone. Don't do it while you're driving home or whatever. This will show on your credit report that you utilise the debt that you obtain, but you also pay it off and you don't ever miss payments. But I just want to stress this one more time, because I don't want you coming back to me and telling me that you were charged some huge interest rate because you waited a few days before you made the payment. Pay it straight away, and don't use your credit card for anything you wouldn't have bought anyway. Only use it for regular expenses that you would have already been paying, and pay it straight off immediately. Don't leave it till the next day, the next week, immediately. Number 3, this goes hand in hand with my point at the beginning, telling you to open up an Experian account and check your report. And this is, check your report for inconsistencies and do it regularly. I've had a few occasions where I've checked my credit report and there's been a search on there that I didn't recognise, or when I moved into my current flat, about 6 months later, I noticed that my previous address was still linked to my credit report and my mortgage wasn't on my credit report. So I'd been making all these mortgage payments for this new house and none of them were showing up on my credit report. I got in touch with Experian and explained the situation. They went back, they made sure that it was all added and all up to date. My credit score skyrocketed because I'd made 6 months of mortgage payments that hadn't been taken into account. If you want to maximise your chances of getting credit, you need to make sure that all your details are correct and up to date. You don't want your chances of getting a mortgage ruined because some comparison site placed 18 searches on your name in one day. And that's a true story. That literally happened to me last year and I had to get them all taken off. If you sign up to Experian, you'll get notifications if there's any changes made to your credit report, or if anyone puts any searches on your file, like this one that I received the other day. Thankfully, Experian notified me. I had no idea that this company had put a search on my credit report, and I've now contacted them and they're in the process of removing it. This isn't an ad for Experian. I've got 190 subscribers, so I don't do ads for anything, obviously, but I don't benefit from telling you to use Experian. I'm just telling you that because I've got experience using it and I just believe it's a really good tool for helping build and maintain your credit score. Number 4, this one's going to rub a few people up the wrong way, and I've already received a lot of backlash on TikTok for this one, but I stand by it. Don't take out credit for no reason. There are good reasons to buy things with finance and there are bad reasons to buy things with finance. So what constitutes as a good reason to finance something or a bad reason? Ultimately, it's a matter of opinion. And I know for a fact that people think that the fact that I've financed my car is silly and unnecessary, which it is. Realistically, I don't need a car that costs me more than £400 a month when I could just buy a car in cash for a few £1,000s and it would be fine. But I like cars, I probably will always finance them, and the fact is 1.5 million cars were bought on finance in 2020. It's the norm at this point. What isn't the norm but is starting to become more prominent is buy now pay later companies like Klarna. So there's mixed opinions on Klarna. I've seen some articles about people having their credit score ruined because they bought things in Klarna and missed a payment, and there's other people telling me that Klarna doesn't affect their credit at all. I don't know myself because I've never taken anything on Klarna, but I think it's a bit risky. What I do know for a fact is if you need to buy a pair of Gucci trainers on finance, you shouldn't buy them. This whole concept of buy now, pay later is becoming very popular, in particular with young people. And I just think to myself, why open yourself to more risk? You're giving yourself more direct debits, and ultimately every new direct debit you have is increasing your chances just that little bit more of accidentally missing a payment. I think some people underestimate how easy it is to miss a payment just by forgetting that a payment's coming out that day and you forgot to transfer money from savings, or just any silly mistake. If you want to go buy clothes on finance, by all means go for it. But if you're hoping to buy a house soon, or you're just looking to improve your credit score over the next year, just put it on hold for a bit. Put the buy now pay later stuff to the side for a year, improve your credit score, and then by all means buy stuff on finance. So the 5th and final point of the video, manage your bills well. So I know this one seems simple and too obvious actually, but if you're anything like me, you've got a lot of direct debits and standing orders that all come out on different days of the month. It can be pretty easy to forget that a bill's coming out on a certain day, especially the smaller ones like Netflix or Amazon Prime. Sometimes you've transferred a little bit extra into savings this week, forgetting that there's a bill due on the Friday. It's a simple mistake, it's an easy mistake, but it can be very costly to your credit score. Thankfully, my current account has a free unarranged overdraft, so that means if I do forget that a bill's due, the bill will still be paid and I'll receive a text telling me to make sure there's money in the account by 2 PM, and all I need to do is transfer money back out of savings or whatever account I've transferred it to. But it means that my bill's paid, and then I just need to make sure the account is up to date by 2 PM, which is an absolute godsend for me because I'm very forgetful. But 100% of the time, every single time, I get this text because I forget that a bill is due that day and my standing order for my savings comes out and I'm short for my mortgage payment by £2 or something silly like that. It's such an easy mistake to make, but keeping on top of it means you're never going to miss a payment, and you'll thank yourself later when the bank are offering you the best interest rate possible. You'll save yourself thousands over the course of your mortgage, and this is all just because they can see you're on top of your finances, you're not missing payments, and they're safe in the knowledge knowing you're going to make your payments every month, you won't miss them, and their money's safe with you. So people, that's my top 5 tips for improving your credit score. There are many other ways that you can improve and maintain your credit score. These are just 5 of the easiest ones and the ones that you can implement quickly today. Let me know in the comments of any tips and tricks that you use to improve your credit score and maintain it. I've still got 1 more year of the default on my credit score. I'm still in the process of trying to get that to the elusive 999 on Experian, and I'm sure any other viewers would benefit from your opinions in the comments. Also, let me know in the comments what your credit score is. I'd love to see how many people have got better ones than me. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more business and finance chat. You can find me on Instagram at Robbie Corbett _, and completely out of left field, I've decided that I am now a Twitch streamer. So if you're interested in seeing how awful I am at Call of Duty and any other game,
Right, Keo, I'm going for that cover.
Oh, mate, they're
you can go to twitch.tv/Robbie Corbett, and luckily for you, I have nothing left to plug, so I will just see you next week. Take it easy.